This is
Genatset Hayer.
A Toast to Armenia with Jano Kabinjian. A comprehensive look at the Armenian culture, only on the Ignotainment Media Network.
Genatset Hayer, Pai Luis Inchpesek. Hey, Chris. How you doing out there, my man?
Doing wonderful. How are you today?
Not bad at all. Last week, this last Saturday, I was playing golf, and I get a text message from Harutyun saying I just listened to the show. I loved it, and you know what? That's the great thing about this. You know, every one of the guests that come on, they go, had a great time.
Yeah. No, that seems to be a response from everybody.
Everyone says, hey, you know what? I had a great time, and you guys made me feel at home. So that's beautiful.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It doesn't stop because we got another guest today.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah, because, you know, we had rappers like 2-3 weeks ago, Armenian rappers, and I said, why not get involved in the music industry itself to see if there's any Armenians that are pulling their, you know, like record labels, and so bingo, I did find it. My guest for this week is Raffi Meneshian. Raffi is a proud Armenian that has a very nice record label that's starting to really make some noise, my friends. Numerous musicians are behind it. 13 albums. I think it may be. Yeah, it may be even higher now. But Raffi Meneshian with Pomegranate Music. Welcome aboard, my friend. Nice to have you.
Thanks, Jono. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, anytime. Raffi, you gotta fill us in, man. I mean, you came up with a great Armenian name too, Pomegranate. Every time I'm in Armenia, there's some sculpture or anything that's got pomegranate. And you know what? How'd you come up with everything?
Yeah, you know, the pomegranate is a very, you know, important Armenian icon. You know, it's the national fruit of Armenia in addition to the apricot. Right. But, you know, in 2001, I was in grad school, kind of struggling along, and finished my first semester and went to Armenia and basically went to visit a friend of mine there. Was introduced to this artist named Gor Mkhitaryan, who at the time was kind of a folk rock performing with a band called Lav Eli, which is a folk rock band out of Vanadzor. And they were defunct at the time, and so Gor was kind of a free agent, playing at some bars, and I went to see him. Wasn't really that impressed, to be honest with you. He was playing a lot of covers, like Down Under by the Australian band Men at Work, and some other stuff by The Who and Zeppelin, and like, yeah, you know, I'm probably going to take a pass, you know, at this as far as pursuing it any further. But a couple days later, he showed up at a party and brought an acoustic guitar, started playing some Armenian folk songs and some original stuff. And,
I like that.
you know, really just kind of felt like I really connected to the music. I felt like the music was very relatable in a Dave Matthews, Bob Dylan kind of folk rock kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I didn't own a label. I was still, again, in grad school. I was writing for some world music magazines, but really didn't have a company at the time. So we cut a three-track demo. And I said, you know what, Gor, when I go back to the States, I'll shop it around, maybe some world music labels, some Armenian labels, and I'm sure that, you know, somebody will be interested. So I came back summer of 2001. I basically shopped the thing around. Nobody bit. And the music itself, again, spoke to me. I felt like there was an audience. And I said, you know what, Gor? I'm actually going to start a label just to promote your stuff because I believe in it so much. And
well, that's a big chance you took.
Yeah, you know, we cut an album. We recorded it in Armenia. He was an Armenian artist. And in November 2001, it was released, and it did very, very well. And from that point on, 14 albums later, and I've got 5 albums coming out in the next 12 months.
Wow. Wow, that's
kind of found a nice little niche, you know, with musicians from Armenia, recorded in Armenia for the most part. And again, it's just something where very, very proud of our music, very proud of our culture. And I think you and I have talked about this in the past, is that, instead of focusing on the negative aspects of our culture, let's bring out some of the positive stuff, such as music.
And you know what? That's interesting you say that, because this podcast was not about being negative, not about, we want to remember and all that, and God bless, and we'll never forget anything, but our people have to stay positive, and the music industry, the Armenian music, is so vital. It's so important to us. I mean, that's part of our life, and I'm glad that. Now, let me ask you this: the grad school aspect. Did you major in this, or was this business? And then you said, you know what, I love music as well. Put the two together, or how did that form?
Yeah, I went and I got an MBA, so I kind of was focusing on a career in business, but I'd always had this kind of music background. I played violin as a kid and oud, and was reviewing classical music stuff for the Armenian Weekly and Global Rhythm magazine. So I kind of always had this kind of musical side, but it all kind of came together with music and business in 2001, and it's helped because a lot of musicians, they're not really into the business aspect of things. All they want to do is they want to lay down some tracks, they want to play, and they want to get their stuff out there, and they really don't have a lot of business sense, or they don't have time to deal with the business aspects of things. And a lot of musicians feel very uncomfortable marketing themselves. And if they do, they don't do it the right way, because, when you look in the mirror and you take a look at yourself, it's a little bit different than what other people see. And that's what I always try to tell my artists, is that you got to have an outside person, a third party, basically going ahead and marketing your stuff. And I kind of found a little niche in the world music and classical music market with what we do with Pomegranate.
Well, that was my next question. Is there any, I got to say, is there any, conflict sometimes that you see an artist and you see a newcomer and you go, wow, I love this, but you know what? I don't think the public is yet ready for something like this, or the public won't buy this?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Having been to Armenia about 9 times, and I was just there over the summer for 2.5, 3 months, I see very talented artists all over the place in Armenia. And it's a country, as you know, that is rich with music and culture. But a lot of times in Armenia, the music just basically is created in Armenia, it stays in Armenia, or it might make its way over to LA, or it might make itself, best case scenario, to some of the diaspora communities around the world, and then it pretty much stays there and it just doesn't go anywhere. What I'm looking for are talented musicians that kind of can jump that kind of barrier of just being diasporan or Armenian musicians,
right,
and make the leap into the international market where, let's just face it, John, you and I are American Armenians. We don't just kind of listen to Armenian music. We listen to our music from all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want people like you and me, who are proud Armenians, but also we're general music fans. So if we see Irish music, or if we see Arabic music, or if we see folk rock,
right,
and we say, hey, you know what, I kind of like that. That's kind of what I'm trying to tap into. Your average kind of world music, classical music fan that likes our music, because there's something that kind of connects them with our music and my artists, and that's what I'm looking for, that kind of an artist.
Well, what are you attacking right now? What type of music are now? I seen some of your articles and so forth. You're getting into some duduk music, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Now that's got to be difficult, though. I mean, that's just one folklore, and that's it. I mean, it's like, okay. My point here is, this violinist, I don't know, I'm sure you have, you like violin, and he plays with Yanni, what was it, Samvel Yerevan?
Samvel,
Yeah, And the way he's taken that violin with Yanni, and they have created such a modernization music with all around and so forth. Is there possible chance that you could do something with the duduk, something like that?
Well, luckily, and certainly, and without luck as well, the duduk has already been established in the world music market for really a couple decades, and it was really kind of trailblazed by Peter Gabriel in 1989, who included a duduk track, a duduk sample from the great duduk player Vache Hovsepian from the 1974 Opera France release, and he dropped it into the Last Temptation of Christ Passion soundtrack in '89. And since that happened, people have been wondering, what is that soulful, very mournful instrument? And Jivan Gasparian has kind of taken the reins, and he's been very popular. A guy named Gevorg Dabakyan, who's been performing with Yo-Yo Ma and the Silk Road Ensemble and Shoak Ensemble, has also kind of taken the reins. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take artists that are not Jivan Gasparian and not Gevorg Dabakyan, people that are under 30 who are incredibly talented, who are just killing it right now in Armenia, and trying to get them out of the Armenian scene and into the international scene. So that's what I'm really trying to do, because people are already aware of what the duduk brings to the table as far as the sound, the emotions, being in movies such as Gladiator, and other TV shows like Battlestar Galactica, all these different shows and movies. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take these younger artists who have a very different kind of outlook on how the duduk should sound. Let's say duduk and flamenco, duduk and orchestra, and we're trying to create some new sounds, and definitely we're trying to create a new market. So
right.
Yeah, so luckily the duduk is internationally known as being Armenian, but we want to introduce new artists to the table and play some jazz, play some ethno jazz, some folk.
That's what I was
wondering.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, if there's any type to where it's always it's a sad instrument. I mean, it really is. It's something that always sounds sad. Chris, you remember the movie Gladiator at the very end when he's at the gates of I guess his heaven, and his family's awaiting, and that duduk is being played.
Yes, absolutely.
And that is really
it is.
beautiful.
It has that like sort of spiritual sound to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, when you go to Armenia, Raffi, I mean, do they know that this is like? Is it kind of like Star Search there, or do you have an office there, or how do you operate when you get off the plane?
Well, I'll tell you, man. I'm a very low key kind of guy. I don't have that kind of clout. I don't have that kind of cachet. I'm just a regular guy that has an independent folk music label, record label, and so what I do is I just basically I hear about musicians through other people. I go to shows. I do a lot of listening. I kind of scour YouTube, and in this case, the two duduk players and the one singer, kind of multi-instrumentalist. I knew the two duduk players when they were with a program called Yarazar that I was executive director of about 8-9 years ago. And these guys are up and coming, young, 14, 15, 16-year-old duduk players. And they just blew people away in Toronto and New York and New Mexico, all these places we toured. And I told them, I said, listen, if I'm ever in a position one day to continue what I'm doing, and you guys kind of keep up your end of the bargain as far as just keep playing the way that you're playing, one day we'll meet down the road and we'll make some records. And it happened. 8 years down the road, I kind of delivered on my promise, and so did they. And so we're working together. And then the third non-duduk player, Viken Hovsepian, he's a guy that had to leave Armenia when he was 14 or 15 due to economic reasons. His family had to go to Barcelona. Mm-hmm. Worked as a construction worker there. He just came back this summer, and this guy is all I've been hearing about in Armenia. I went to his shows. He's playing Spanish music, flamenco music. he just blew me away. And I said, what if we make an Armenian album and take some of that energy and that elegance and put it into that? And he agreed, and so I think we're going to make a killer album. And I think, again, all three of these artists, they have the ability to transcend just the Armenian market and jump into the international market, and that's what I'm looking for.
Wow, that's really when do you see when? Okay, you found this guy, you found this kid that he can play and so forth. How long does all this process take to get everything worked out with the record, the producing, and everything? How long does something like this go out?
So from idea to product, it can take as little as 6 months to 2 years. So basically, what happens is that I'm sitting around at home, or I'm kind of in Armenia, and something kind of inspires me, a sound or an artist kind of inspires me, and I do my research on this person. Probably takes a couple months. Then I approach the artist. We talk a little bit about what their needs are, what my needs are as far as the marketplace, and then the recording itself probably takes anywhere between 3 weeks to 3 months. And so once that's over, we go ahead and do a comprehensive set of 4 or 5 photo shoots. Then from there, what we do is we kind of create the story. We get the backstory on each artist. I visit their homes. I meet their parents. I basically do as much as I can to kind of get the story and the essence of who they are.
And probably the fear factor too. Yeah,
I don't know, another couple months to slap everything together and kind of get the product together. So yeah, it can take up to a year sometimes.
So when you go to Armenia, though, I mean, basically you're going out to check out gigs and check out Armenians playing at local pubs and so forth too, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I went.
I can't beat that. We could do that with you, Raffi.
Do it, Jono.
Yeah,
let's
absolutely.
do it, man. Let's do it. Let's go out there, have some fun, and
how great
is
that?
That's part of the fun of it. Even if we don't find artists that we like, it's not like we won't enjoy the music.
No,
but it takes
it's beautiful.
a special person to kind of transcend that Armenian market.
Wow. So I was mentioning too, is there some sort of a gap between you got to earn their trust, the family's trust, or something like this? When you hear record labels too, some they become a little bit on the negative side. They're wanting to sign my kid and all this and take my kid away. I mean, you got to do a lot of negotiating with the parents too. I'm assuming.
Yes and no. I would say all of my artists, are adults. They're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s in some case. So I like to kind of go to their home and break bread with them because I want to get an essence and a feel of what they're all about. Because I like realism. I like kind of portraying realism. I don't necessarily like crafting people into pop stars.
Right.
I like people to kind of connect with them. But I will say that there are fewer and fewer record labels left anymore, and especially Armenian record labels, or record labels that focus on Armenian stuff. So I'm kind of one of the last of the Mohicans at this point, and it's there's a standard international contract. It's pretty much, this is what it is. It's above what I think is fair in the international market, especially if they're Armenians. And basically, I pay for their studio, I pay for their marketing, their photography, everything, and there's a percentage that's given to them and an upfront royalty. So everything is above board and high quality, and basically, luckily we've had a lot of success and gained a lot of trust from the artists.
Bravo, Raffi! It sounds like a very nice thing that you're doing too, my man. I mean,
thanks, man.
When we did this podcast thing, it was we just needed to do something Armenian, and I'm glad someone's out there that's looking into taking care of our musicians as well, because like I said, there's so many Armenians. It's part of our culture. Singing and music is, and by the way, I mean, if you ever wanted to hear, George Tutujan with me singing in the shower. I am fabulous. I could tell you that too.
You're rocking in the shower, Jono.
Yeah.
You're probably gonna have to call the plumber on that one.
Hey, Chris. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. So,
well, you know what? Congrats on your podcast too, man. I mean,
thank you.
I've been listening to it for a while, and I know
That's
that
great
it's
to
grown
hear.
in numbers.
Yeah.
And I love it. I mean, I love just putting it on in the car and driving and.
Hey, and you know what?
Listen to positive stuff, you know?
Thank you very much. And you know what, Raffi? This show is possible. Like, I'm sure you've got the same angle on this as well. As I meet someone, they introduce me to someone, and that's how the ball's rolling on this. Because I'm sure in your case too, there's a singer that says, you know what? There's a singer too that's really good, or so forth, and that's how you roll as well. Is there some sort of connection like that?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we're such a strong community. It's not just 6 degrees of separation. Sometimes it feels like it's 1 or 2 with people that we know. That, you know, when you want to get in touch with somebody, it's not too hard in the Armenian community to get in touch with that person. And so, you know, even because I don't reside in Armenia, I go often, but I don't reside there. The connections that you make when you go there, and the connections that you make here, you know, sometimes it's simple as just calling somebody up and saying, "Tell me the top 2 duduk players under 30," and you know, give me their info, and then I do my research. Or sometimes, again, you just stumble on talent there that you can't pass up.
Yeah,
like with this guy Viken Hovsepian. And I'm sure it's the same in your case, you know, with some of the fantastic guests that you've had on your podcast.
Well, definitely.
You know, they're different every week, and I love it.
Yeah, and you got to mix it up. You got to mix people up and so forth. And we'd love to have one of your musicians down the line too, and
that would be amazing.
Yeah, promote their music, and we
Chris.
could even play a little music of theirs on the show
we'd
too.
even love to have, you know, some of their music to feature on a segment of the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would
Chris.
be very cool.
Yeah, why the hell not? That would be great. That would be great. So, is there a site the fans out there, the Armenian Proud people, can go out there and check out and so forth? Can you give us anything on that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple ways that you can kind of connect with Pomegranate Music. The first way is just our traditional website, which is www.pomegranatemusic.com. And the other way that you can connect, and it's more real time, is on Facebook. Just put in Pomegranate Music, 2 separate words, and our Facebook page will come up. And like I said, we've got 3 albums coming out pretty soon. One of them is Harutyun Chkolyan, duduk player. The other one is Arsen Petrosyan, duduk player, and the third one is Viken Hovsepian, a dynamic singer, multi-instrumentalist, and really, really happy to be presenting them. And if you'd like, we can certainly do a world premiere of one of the tracks on your show.
That would be amazing.
Whenever you'd like.
Oh, wow. Definitely. That would be great.
Yeah, well, and also I wanted to say anyone who wants to, you know, to go to the website or the Facebook page, all of that information will be in the description below the show, so you can easily just, after you hear the show, just you find the link there, you can see the website, the Facebook page. So
we'll have that on there too. We'll have that on our show as well, and on our site as well, Raffi. So that's great, man. I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy to hear all this too. And you're a friend of the show. Anytime you got something new, let us know, and we will promote it. And take care, my friend. It's been great.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Jono. I really appreciate it. And again, congratulations with all of your success as well. I love the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks, you very much.
Really appreciate it.
All right. That was Raffi Meneshian. I tell you what, Chris, you can't beat that.
That was, I mean, you know, the access to the musicians and the, you know, it's amazing. It's a huge thing for our show. It's a huge thing for the whole, you know, the whole Armenian community to be able to have centralized access to, you know, such amazing music like that.
And for Raffi to bring it out into the open, I mean, there's other Armenians as well that do it, but I tell you what, the guy's dedicated. He was into business, and he said, "You know what? I want to do something that I love as well." You know, it's beautiful.
Well,
you can't beat that.
Nope, absolutely.
Speaking of what's been going on here, we missed last week with Mariam.
Mariam, yeah.
Well, I wonder what she's got in her hot Armenian stove for us this week. So
I'm excited to find out.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. I'm starving. I haven't eaten lunch yet. I have to tell you, so I'm starving.
Yeah, I hear your stomach right over here. So, well, let's hear Mariam here. We're going to call her up and see if she's ready for us, and we'll give you guys a shout back. How do they see us on Facebook and all that?
So if you're on Facebook, just search for Armenia Proud. You can find all of our social media, access to the show on iTunes, the show on Stitcher, so you can subscribe. All of that you can find on our website, which is armeniaproud.com on the web, and it has links to absolutely everything for the show. Has links to our Facebook page, all of our social media, iTunes, Stitcher. You can find it all armeniaproud.com.
And you know what, folks? Leave a comment on iTunes. It'll help me out. You guys like my show? Put a little comment under iTunes there saying how much you guys love the show, too.
Yeah. So if you listen on iTunes or if you listen on Stitcher, they have the ability for you to give the show a rating, 5-star rating, and a review. And it helps the show because it helps. I know I listen to podcasts all the time. I listen to our podcast. I listen to if I listen to a podcast and it's one that I like, I always leave a rating or review, because on shows that I haven't heard about before, that's how I find out if I want to listen to it. I read the ratings.
To the ratings, right?
So if we want other people in the Armenian community to listen to the show, that's how we want to get it.
Excellent. All right, let's see what Mariam's up to here. Hey, Mariam, how are you?
Good, thank you. And how are you guys doing?
We are doing
wonderful.
Great. It's been a great show so far, and we'd like to end it with one of your great cook fest, you might say, one of your great cooking experiences that you'll be sharing with us.
I'm excited for it, especially on a Friday.
Yeah. Well, I have a recipe that I made last night, actually, and I wanted to share this with you. It's not authentic Armenian, but my grandmother used to make this for us.
God bless that grandmother of yours.
Thank you. And she used to make for her Armenian family, so I guess that makes it Armenian.
Yeah.
So it's chicken, drumsticks, and beer. How easy that? I mean, that's
wow.
What is that?
Easier than that.
Wait, what is that again?
It's beer and drumsticks, chicken drumsticks.
Look at that.
Hey, all right, tell us how they make this.
I
like my chicken and I like my beer, so this Armenian's going to be very happy.
Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So you need about 12 pieces of chicken drumsticks and one can or bottle of beer. It could be any beer you want. I made with Guinness last night, and it actually came out really good.
Now, Mariam, that was 12 pieces of chicken, not 12 cans and one.
No, chicken.
Okay.
Only one can or bottle
one can
of beer.
and vice versa. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So you just line it up in a baking dish, and you season it with salt, pepper, and paprika, and then you pour the beer all over, and then you cover it up and put it in 350-degree oven. You bake it for an hour or so, and then you uncover it and roast it until it's roasted or until it's golden brown. And it comes out really, really good.
And this is all foiled up, you said?
It's foiled up the first hour, and then you uncover it and you roast it for another half an hour or so until it's golden brown.
And I'm sure when you're foiling it before then, you're putting a little oil so you don't have the chicken stuck to it, or maybe you don't need that.
You don't have to, because this is bone and skin on. You don't have to put oil.
I gotcha.
And you have the beer, which is going to keep it moist.
Well, that does sound great. And you know what sounds really good with that, too, is maybe if you do some potatoes with it as well and throw that in there. Wow.
It actually sounds great. You can do potatoes. I do tabbouleh. But, you can do, potatoes, or you can do fries, and it goes really well with it.
I think that does sound great.
Yeah,
for
that
this
sounds.
weekend.
I'm ready for it right now.
Yeah, that does sound good. So what's this called again?
She called it, and I'm gonna say this in Armenian, Harutyun Chkolyan, which means drunken chicken.
Drunken chicken.
Yeah.
Did we get that?
That's
I
what
mean,
she called it.
Hang on, Mariam. That went in and out. Did we get that name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
Because I thought her Her thing went in and out on that. Okay, well, that's great then. What's this called again? One last time so I can hear it.
Drunken chicken, and in Armenian, I said it in Armenian first, which that's what you called. It's Harutyun's house.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
there you have it.
Wow.
And for you people out there, it was 12 pieces of chicken, not 12 beers and one chicken. Okay, like I
Right.
thought.
Unless they're
Easy
making
on
a
the beer.
big batch, then yes, 12 cans of beer. But
Right.
for 12, you don't need 12 beers.
Right, yeah, I was
That
kidding.
sounds really good.
Yeah, that does sound good. And I could see myself throwing some potatoes and mushroom in there, getting that all going together. Wow, that sounds like a hell of a meal. All right. Thank you, Mariam.
All right. No problem.
Have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
You guys have a great weekend, too.
See ya. All right, so that was Mariam's dish there, 12 pieces of chicken with 1 can of beer.
1 can of beer, not
Yeah.
12 beers.
That was all you. That was you. That was not me. Anyway, that was Mariam's cooking adventure for this weekend, my friends. And remember, every week we got our guest, and we got Mariam as well. And it's just been a great series, man. These shows are just excellent.
Every week we just, and
Getting better and better and comfortable, too.
well, and the awesome aspect of the show is I think it helps to bring all, everyone that we've had on the show so far, that you've had on the show, has been, someone who, has something interesting that's going on that's in the Armenian community. And through the show, everyone has sort of been able to hook up with each other also.
I know.
So it's sort of like, people in the arts and, people in the food world and people in the music world all being able to sort of hook up and to meet each other through the show. So I like that.
It's excellent. Way
Yeah.
to put it, Chris. Way to put it. Wow. Another great show. Another great ending here. But you know what? Let's end it on the world premiere of Pomegranate's new music single from Harutyun Chkolyan. I hope I said that right, but I probably didn't. But you know what, Harutyun? This is your song. It's called Offspring. So here it is. Enjoy, my friends. Genatsit, Kisher Party, and we'll see you next week.
Tune in next week for another episode of
Genatzet Hayer.
A Toast to Armenia with Jano Kabinjian. You can find the show online at www.armeniaproud.com or download and subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher for Android. This is the Ignotainment Media Network.
Nagarit tar pereku hayastan ingo